Um, but let me just begin by the most important one, I think, for me, which I asked earlier on automation. Your project, the difference between what we see on the roadside or the everyday mechanic and what you have seem to be the deployment of technology, amongst other things, the quality of staff and all that. So, in brief, I would like um, you to speak about what was absent in the industry that made you get into diverse motors. What lacuna did you see that made you decide, oh, I'm going to go here, and how you've been feeling it so far these years?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. The automobile industry has changed substantially in the last 20 to 25 years from what that industry was in terms of the type of vehicles that were produced then, which are basically all mechanical. But over time, you find that most of the vehicle manufacturers have introduced some high level of modern technology that some of the vehicles you have now are actually literally like computers. And repair is no longer by using spanners and screwdrivers and things. You have to understand the workings of the vehicle. So to a large extent, there was need for industry to also be abreast with these technological developments. And that means the technicians or those working in the automobile industry, the maintenance side of it, also have to upscale the technology to be able to address the problems of modern day vehicles. Now, like you know, Nigeria is a country where the citizens like vehicles, cars. Once there's a new auto design, one of the first countries that go for them is Nigeria. So at the time I noticed that most of the modern vehicles that Nigerians were buying were ending up in roadside mechanic, what I called mortuary of vehicles. They take these new vehicles to those places, and in a short while, those vehicles can no longer work because the mechanics were, or technicians who were working on them didn't have the technology to do things, and they do more damage. As a person, I like American vehicles, particularly the Jeeps, because of the nature of our roads, and I didn't want to be in that group of Nigerians who buy such vehicles and they end up in roadside mechanic workshop. The main thing that informed my setting up automobile workshop is automobile workshop repair shop is exactly like a ship repair yard. It's the same technology, it's the same flow process, it's the same procurement process. So all I did was to take the experience I have in ship repair to automobile. And I traveled out of the country about 8 years ago, visited the US, looked at the type of garages they have, repair garages. I went to Germany, the same thing. I was in Dubai. And then came back, I had a clear understanding of what I wanted to put together as an automobile workshop that will measure to anyone you can find anywhere in the world. So that's the infrastructure side of it. But the software is equally important. So I engaged the relevant sources to be able to introduce technology in the processes of repairs in every aspect of the automobile. Now, to be able to do that, you agree with me that it became necessary to begin to bring in technicians that have some minimum level of education, particularly in the engineering and ICT sector. So you find that most of our technicians now are not only mechanical engineers, electronics engineers, ICT engineers, to address the technology side of the work. But you cannot take away also the role of the traditional mechanics, who usually are not exactly that educated, but over the years they've mastered the art of preparing vehicles, and then we brought both sectors together, integrated them, and then with a bit of help from remote training as well, they are able to upscale to a point whereby our organization can diagnose any fault in any vehicles manufactured up to Rolls-Royce, Tesla, electrical, you name it. We have diagnostic machines for all these vehicles, and therefore children are also aware of trained on how to carry out the repairs. Once you diagnose the fault, the solution is simple. I've got a long way to answer your question, but that's what's behind it. And I'm personally involved in all the process. So we also then contacted tertiary institutions around, and made the facility available for them to send their relevant students for their internship. And when they come, we make a duty of giving them their toolbox, their PPE, and their tablets. When they finish their internship, we let them take away all that as part of their parting gift. We put them on allowances, of course. Now, the testimonies we get, very interesting. So when children will send call us and say, look, my teacher's car did not start, and after the roadside mechanic tried to fix it, it didn't work. And I asked my lecturer, can I try? He said, what do you know about it? He said, give me a chance. And then it starts, gets the vehicle sorted out, and they pay the responsible money. Now, some of them were very wise. If they are struggling with the solution, they pick up the telephone and call the workshop supervisor they were training on that and tell them what to do. So you can see the impact it's having in our system. I'm very happy about that.
Can I do it before? Okay. One of the mainstay of the regular mechanic workshops are artisans, and I'm sure you had quite an experience with them as a lover of vehicles and even as a shipyard owner. Moving to the side of the divide where it's more professional, education is key, technology is a key. What do you still see artisans as important in the entire work chain? If yes, what different thing are you doing, to ensure that the mistakes we make on our roadside, the culture is different and everything is different when an artisan gets into your own workshop?
That's a very good question. First of all, the intellectual technicians, if I use that word, cannot succeed without the traditional mechanics. Now they can diagnose the problem, or somebody still has to use the tools of office to do the work. So it's an integration. But what we've done also is to take some of these traditional mechanics and expose them to some training. Now today, we are accredited by Toyota Nigeria Limited, we are accredited by CFAO, we are accredited by a couple of other big-time automobile industry companies who have training programs annually for different cadres of technicians. And then we send a lot of these children to those places to be trained, refined, improved on. And then most of them, interestingly, they just catch on so quickly that they actually give the educated one a home for their money at times because of the experience they have when they are coming. But generally, we find an eagerness by this class of people to try and learn the new technology. And some of them actually go out of their way to do research, to begin to study online just to catch up.
So on the average, how long does it take to convert, a regular artisan who has a mindset, when they come into this new system, Would it take about a year with you? Would it take about 2 years? Would it take about 6 months, for that person, for you to actually beat your hands in your chest and say, I can actually let this person.
It's actually the other way around.
Oh, okay.
The traditional technicians come into the workshop very confident, and they see the educated ones as not having a clue about what they do. So they start and then introduce the intellectual ones into the real business. So those who come with degrees and things, they learn, they look at them, and in a very short while, they catch on quickly on what they are doing. They have the understanding, but when it comes to actually doing the technical job, they still rely on those guys. So at the end of the day, you find that
There's need for a fusion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, thank you, sir.
Anyone can easily assume that you went into ship repair, ship building, whichever way you look at it, ship repair, because of money. Now, taking a look at you going into pursuing the same goals on the land, focusing on cars, there may be a disagreement on the idea of whether you went there because of money or you went there because of love. From your own perspective, can we hear from the officers?
Well, I think it would be a major error for anybody to assume that I, or anybody for that matter, went into shipping because of money. Because to go into shipping, you need a lot of money. And you don't have that money in your pocket, so you must have borrowed it from the bank or somewhere, which means you have to pay back that money before you can begin to make money. Those of you who know my story know that I didn't go into business intentionally. I was forced into business when I lost my job in June of 1986. And then I started my business in July of 1986 with 100 naira. I wasn't driven. If I wanted to make money, I think I won't do shipping at all. Because I know a lot of illiterates who haven't gone to school, who have no skill, who are multi-billionaires. Many ways you can do that. You can hang around the big boys in Abuja, you can import stockfish and things like that, and you turn over huge billions of funds. But I'm a professional. The desire to create what doesn't exist remains my driving force in everything. Situation that doesn't exist, and I create something to happen, like what you saw today. And you can't find any of it anywhere in this state or even neighboring states. It's usually the multinationals that you find attempt to do things like that. So, money, I don't really have much regard for money. Money is a necessity, not a luxury. I don't have money. I'm a rich man, but I don't have money. I don't have money in the bank. All the money I make, you see them on the street, like what you saw today, the ships I buy, creating jobs for people. So I'm driven more to creating platforms that will impact the society, that will impact lives, and by extension, those societies and lives will protect you. They take care of your needs. Because no matter how wealthy you are, it gets to a time when you see money, you can't even touch it, you can't even write a check, you don't even understand it. So it is the people you've empowered, you've enriched, that will now know where to take you to for attention, they know how to take care of you, people take care of you. So this mentality about money is not part of my life at all.
Sir, I noticed on the tour of diverse autos, we got to a particular equipment you said it's most expensive and
The collision jig.
And it's very, very underutilized. Now, I'm trying to, from when you made that statement, I looked at the whole investment, I looked at a common man on the street that is just, I just bought one car and is trying to, I asked myself, how are you trying to balance, because from what I see, somebody will come here and look at that place and like, ah, yeah, services is so expensive, and run away to the roadside. So I'm trying to balance the charges to increase, patronage, to bring in, to accommodate those class of people that, that normally run to all those roadside.
So that's a very, very good question. Yes, people who come to the shop, they just say, oh my goodness, we cannot afford it. It's only for the big boys. We laugh. We take our time to say, don't worry about the money. Let's fix your vehicle. If you can pay, pay. If you cannot pay, you can go. Look at it this way. When you take your vehicle to a roadside mechanic and you complain of a fault with your vehicle, more than half the time, the first thing they do is trial and error. They try this, they will tell you this is what you have to get, fan belts, you buy the fan belts, it doesn't work. They say they found another thing, it doesn't work. So by the time they eventually go through the process, either they've done more damage to your vehicle, or they make you spend so much money. If you are lucky, you get the result. Most times you don't get the result. One of the things you notice in our facility today, which I made a duty of them showing you, was the diagnostic machine. It's just like health. Some hospitals have killed patients through trial and error. Before the patient finishes speaking, they say malaria and typhoid or something like that. Whereas there could be a virus or something else. But if you have an hospital that can diagnose straight away what the issue is, they know what to treat, and it's cheaper. Because every action they take as a mechanic, whether it's corrective or not, you are paying for it. So when I explain this to a lot of people, and they've experimented it, people come, people, the poor, not poor, those who cannot afford the big money, they come. They'll just diagnose it for that's all you need to change. This thing that's happening here is only this knot here that was loose, because the diagnostic machine has thrown them down. And when they say, where I can go, it's okay now, how much do I pay? And they're surprised what they're asked to pay. What we do generally, if you come with a complaint, we don't just go to that complaint and solve it. There must be a reason why that thing is happening. So we trace down the line to the root cause. We will let you know that even though this is the complaint, that this also has to be addressed. So generally, after the diagnosis, we have a technical report of the condition of your vehicle and tell you all what the issues are. Sometimes you don't even know. It's like a human being. If you have a health condition, it takes a while to manifest. So the vehicle has a problem. We are seizing the vehicle, it looks okay. It doesn't manifest, but something else happens. We bring the vehicle in. We will tell you that even though this is a problem, there's another problem coming. So we give you a report. If you now want, we give you the costs. So you have an opportunity to look at all the problems and look at what it will cost to deal with them. And you can prioritize and budget to do them as you have funds. So you don't have to deal with all the problems at the same time. So what we're doing there is more than just repairing a car, but also helping people to enjoy motoring at very, very reduced costs.
But sir, during that facility tour, I also observed that you have a very sound understanding of most of your businesses, from diverse motors to Star Gas to Equals Security. At the point I was asking myself, will I be right if I say it seems you are beginning to see yourself taking a break from shipping and focusing on some
Just
other...
call me a genius.
A polymath.
You can't give what you don't have. Now the people that give what that don't have and they create, they want to make money. I use my platforms to teach, to educate, and to inform. You notice most time when they are talking to you, I will laugh and say that, okay, if I don't understand what they are doing, how can I run a business? So they can be there and work for you for 5 years, and they will learn nothing. And you remain ignorant. So, like I said to you before I set up the workshop, I went round to look at what's happening and read. You should have a mind of acquiring knowledge to be able to pass knowledge to other people. I'm also very passionate about anything I do. Sometimes I get them to teach me. If I don't understand what they are doing, particularly those who are experts in certain areas. But a car is a toy. Any vehicle is a toy compared to a ship. And I'm a marine engineer. I spent about 10 years educating myself as a marine engineer. I should be able to fix my own car. And things like that. And all it takes is to pick it up and read about it to understand what's all about. Again, it depends on interest. So yes, you are right. I definitely am not ignorant at all about the establishments I have and what they do. You picked up a very interesting one. That's stars gas. Yeah. It's a plant. Every plant has a process. Like we're doing, you take the gas, you compress it. Compressed natural gas, CNG. So something compresses the gas. And it's natural gas coming through the pipe. You compress it using a compressor. Then you store it it goes through the process of cleaning. You store it in a cylinder. And then you feed it into the vehicle. But they have to operate under certain conditions, temperature and things like that with the respective equipment. It's so basic. But now, quite often we employ people and they say they're experts. And sometimes they try to bullshit, And when you now throw a couple of questions, either they run or they know that we can't handle it yet. So let them learn. And we've had to turn over, the turnover of staff for Stars Gas is a bit high because it's a new technology that the country is now trying to imbibe quickly. And most of the people call themselves experts coming from wherever, oil industry in particular. When they come in there and they try to walk full around, I will say, no, you're getting it wrong. So and again, all my companies are corporately put together. We have corporate governance is the key. So we have boards, and what you saw today, probably management and worker, but we have the boards. And in my boards, we make a duty to bring in people who are experts in their respective areas. Finance, technology, administration, corporate governance. So yesterday we had the diverse auto board meeting. So we had the governance committee, the audit and finance committee, and then the technical operation board committees. So these people engage with the respective management before the board meetings. So you can see the levels of knowledge transfer in the interaction. And you have to be intentional about it. So going back to the question about money, if you want to do what I'm saying, you will make money because all these structures you're putting in place, you have to fund them. Like I said to you today, my investment in diverse, I will not be able to recover in 30 years. So it is an investment in the future of young people. And that's why I don't borrow money. So I can keep looking young, sleep very well, no police, no security guards, no looking over my shoulders. So the little money that comes, we use to put things on ground, and then I'm a happy man.